Wow. It's a performance worthy of a king. A Burger King at that. A Burger King. Oh, this is going to be a long one. That was awesome. Let's give him another round of applause. That was awesome. I wonder now if you'll join me in our gathering litany on this beautiful Sunday as we're celebrating Mardi Gras. As we gather this day, we invoke not only the reverent, but the ridiculous, not only the holy, but the human, and the God to be found in the midst of it all. Now it's your turn. You get to sing now. Let's rise up and bow to your spirit. We got Tom on the trumpet over here. And let's sing some, Oh, When the Saints Go Marching In. Wow. Tom, thank you. Let's hear it for Tom and our dancers. Huh? Tom will be strolling around afterwards out in Mardi Gras playing his trumpet outside as well, right, Tom? He's got some jambalaya in one hand. He's going to play with the other. See it? Oh, my gosh. Good morning, everybody. For any visitors, this isn't how we always start a service. Just get that out there. We're going into the quiet season of Lent next week, so we got a lot of energy to get out today. I think that's pretty clear. Good morning. Special welcome to any visitors we have with us today. First-time visitors, return visitors that may or may not come back. We are delighted to have you here today, as well as to our online community visitors. And first time, second time, wherever you are here, as we always say. We're delighted. If you're in person with us this morning, we keep a friendship book out in the gathering space. You can sign that and put your information in there. We'll keep you on our newsletter list and keep you apprised of all the happenings that we have going on here. And if you're online, just go ahead and send a note to office@faithucc.org, and we'll get you on that same list. And just always remember, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. It helps us out. If you're on Facebook, like and share. It really helps us to spread the word of what we do here farther and wider. It's a great morning. Beautiful morning. We got a great day, everybody. It's Mardi Gras Sunday, one of my favorite Sundays of the year. Oktoberfest and Mardi Gras. Funny, those are my two favorite Sundays here. of the year. I don't know why that is. If you're visiting with us today, yes, we do Mardi Gras before Lent, right before we go into Ash Wednesday and Lent. It's kind of just a way to have some fun. So if you're visiting with us today, we want you to be our guest afterwards. Join us for a meal. We've got pulled pork. I heard jambalaya that's been cooking Elizabeth Cohen since like Friday or something like that. We've got all sorts of goodies out there. There's a heck of a Bloody Mary bar. There are soda pops, Minnesota is coming out of me. For non-alcoholic beverages, there's all sorts of goodies here. So stick around and have a great time after our service. There's something else going on today. What else is happening today? Taylor Swift. That's right. Taylor Swift is happening today. We got Taylor Swift coming to a football game today, right? I can't wait to watch Taylor. I don't care about the game. I want to watch Taylor Swift. What's she going to be wearing? Who's she going to be with? Who's going to get all bent out of shape over the fact that she's there? These are the good things we want to see. But, who's going to watch the game tonight? Let's do a... Oh, yeah, come on. You folks will let your hands up. You'll turn it on for the commercials. Come on, we got Usher. We got Usher at halftime, right? Yeah, we got... What's that? Reba. Oh, yeah, Reba doing the national anthem. We got a lot of good stuff. And then you got the commercials, right? You can tune in for the commercials. I've already seen a couple of them. They're pretty. There's a couple pretty funny ones already out there.
There's also a football game.
Oh, there's a football game too. Yeah, I heard that. Who's playing again? Is it? It's like the Vikings and the Bills. Is that tonight?
It's the Swifties versus the 49ers.
Travis Kelce's actually in the house today. That's awesome. Travis Kelce. Say hi to Taylor for us. Hey, I thought I'd share these because, the UCC has a connection. The United Church of Christ has a connection to the Super Bowl. Did you know that? Some of you know that. Some of you have never seen these before. But back in 2004, the United Church of Christ tried to take out an ad to play during the Super Bowl. They spent a lot of money, and CBS rejected their ad. Even though in 2010, they were happy to put a Tim Tebow, a pro-life, focus on the family ad on, but they couldn't play. Apparently, the UCC ad was just way too risky. This is 2004, so too woke. I got too woke for 2004. So I thought I'd share it with you today. Well, there's two of them. The first one is the actual ad they wanted to play during the Super Bowl that was rejected, which actually was a great thing because it spread the word. Everybody then wants to see the rejected ad, right? Everybody's like, well, what is this ad? I got to see it now. So it actually ended up being great for the United Church of Christ. But let's watch it, and some of you have seen it. For others, this is new, but it's funny every year. I've got two of them. This is the one that was denied from the Super Bowl.
No. Step aside, please. No way. Not you. I don't think so. No.
The United Church of Christ. No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you're welcome here.
Oh, the controversy. Wow. How dare they? How dare you play something beautiful with inclusion on it? We don't want any of that, right? We want more division. So that was rejected, and then they came out with another one that I think is it's funny. I hope you find it funny if you haven't seen it before. Don't blame me, I didn't make it. So this is called the UCC Ejector ad. This came out shortly after.
United Church of Christ. No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you're welcome here.
Yeah, that one is even a little more controversial than the first one, I think. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, I just said to Marge, that's why we were nervous to fill out the paperwork.
No ejector seats here. Button. Where's my button? There's no button here. I don't have an ejector button. The United Church of Christ, all are welcome. It's been in their motto since the very beginning, and they sure tried to live it during that Super Bowl. Got shut down, but here we are, still preaching that same message all these decades later. 20 years later. That was 20 years ago. It just dawns on me. 2004. We're in 2024, right? Yes, we are. Take my shoes off, but that's 20 years. So happy 20-year anniversary of stirring the pot. Well, more than that, United Church of Christ, especially on Super Bowl Sunday. Whatever you do tonight, I hope you're safe. I hope you have fun. Hope you eat some good food and just have a fun day. And go Niners. That's who I'm rooting for. So. Oh, sorry, Travis Kelce. Come on, the guy Brock Purdy was selected last in the draft. I mean, you got to root for the guy that's like Mr. Irrelevant, right? And he's in the Super Bowl. I mean, come on. I'm an underdog guy, and I got to go for him. So I'm sorry, Taylor. I'm sorry. So get to her later, I'm sure.
But they won more Super Bowls.
Who's that? They did. I know. I'm balancing it all. Until the Vikings get in there, I don't really care, but another 40 years, I've been waiting a long time. Hey, I wonder if you'll have a moment of centering here before we journey ever deeper into our service on this kind of fun and beautiful, just a stunning day out there, beautiful Sunday. And I'm going to use this Maya Angelou beautiful prayer for our singing bowl moment of centering. But first, I invite you just to close your eyes and take a few breaths. And breathe in this present moment, and as you breathe out, remind yourself that you're in the midst of a beautiful moment. Maybe try and let go of some of that anxiety that tries to weigh us down, and let it go at least for this time if you can. And breathe in a sense of wholeness and goodness and joy. We need a lot of joy in these days. And present moment, beautiful moment. Let's pray these words by Maya Angelou on this second Sunday in Black History Month. Beautiful prayer. Father, Mother, God, thank you for your presence during the hard and the mean days, for then we have you to lean on. Thank you for your presence during the bright and the sunny days, for then we can share that which we have with those who have less. And thank you for your presence during the holy days, for then we are able to celebrate you and our families and our friends. For those who have no voice, we ask you to speak. For those who feel unworthy, we ask you to pour your love out in waterfalls of tenderness. For those who live in pain, we ask you to bathe them in the river of your healing. For those who are lonely, we ask you to keep them company. And for those who are depressed, we ask you to shower upon them the light of hope. Dear Creator, you, the borderless sea of substance, we ask you to give to all the world that which we need most, peace. Amen. Let us journey ever deeper into our service together with the beautiful voices of our choir.
Good morning. Oh, we're going to have a fun time today. Our reading today is from Psalm 27, verses 1 through 6. Listen to these words of confidence from one going through a hard time, yet whose trust was in God completely, to be there with them through it all, right to victory. God is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? God is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked advance against me to devour me, it is my enemies and my foes who will stumble and fall. Though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. Though war break out against me, even then I will be confident. One thing I ask of God, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in God's house all the days of my life, to gaze on God's beauty and to seek God in the temple. For in the day of trouble, God will keep me safe by shielding me and will set me high upon a rock. God will keep me safe by shielding me and will hide me in his sacred shelter and set me high upon a rock. Then my head will be exalted above the enemies who surround me. At God's sacred tent, I will shout for joy. I will sing and make music in thanksgiving.
Thank you, Kathy. Powerful reading. Thank you. So the great pastor William Sloane Coffin of Riverside, New York fame, wrote in a sermon one time, he said, quote, "There are three kinds of patriots, two bad, one good. The bad are the uncritical lovers and the loveless critics. Good patriots carry on a lover's quarrel with their country," end quote. I was thinking about Coffin's quote a lot this week as I studied the faith and activism and life and courage of a man I would like to lift up on this day in Black History Month, and on a day when millions of people will gather around their television sets to watch a game in which this man played just a decade ago. Of course, the game I'm talking about is, as we've already talked, the Super Bowl, which airs tonight between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. And the man I'm talking about was the quarterback of the 49ers when they went to the Super Bowl in 2012. A man you all know for a variety of reasons, Colin Kaepernick. It's his story I want to explore today as we both celebrate Black History Month and get ready for the big game tonight. For he is someone that I personally have held in very high esteem, even when so much of the nation, including the NFL, turned their backs on him for his willingness to think beyond himself and his dreams and stand up, or rather kneel down, to raise awareness of oppression and ongoing racism. I know not everybody will agree with me. I've already had some very interesting conversations, but I consider this man a hero in the same light as Rosa Parks, whom we celebrated lavishly last week. Why? Well, hear me out. And then you can tell me why I'm wrong, though I don't think I am. I'm the foregone leading person on my own opinion. Right? Colin Kaepernick was born on November 3rd, 1987 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the son of a black father and a white mother who at 19 years old could scarcely take care of him. He was placed up for adoption and was eventually adopted by a couple in Milwaukee who soon moved the family to California. Colin grew up an incredibly athletically gifted child, playing several sports, football, beginning at age 8, and baseball soon after. His arm was so strong, in fact, that he quickly became a standout in both of those sports at a really young age. He threw a 94-mile-per-hour fastball as an elite pitcher as a young kid. Think about that, 94 miles per hour as a youngster. That's amazing. His arm was so strong, in fact, that his dreams just couldn't be contained. But baseball could not hold his dreams. Even with that 94-mile-per-hour fastball, at the young age in 4th grade, he decided he wanted to go pursue football. He wrote, quote, "I hope to go to a good college in football and then go to the pros and play for the Niners or the Packers." Even if they aren't good, end quote. His dream was to play professional football, and nothing would derail him from that for now. So Cap was a star in high school football circles, but he garnered some detractors who worried about his size because he was 6'4", he's a tall dude, yet he was only 170 pounds. So he's pretty skinny. So he was passed over by bigger college football programs, but he caught the eye of the coaches at the University of Nevada, and they offered him a scholarship not to play quarterback, interestingly, but to play safety. But as fate would have it, early in his freshman year, the starting QB went down with an injury, and they called young Cap to step in, and he put on a dazzling performance, and he threw for 384 yards and 4 touchdowns. And you know what happened? He and Nevada, they never looked back, and Cap ended his college career as the first quarterback in Division I history to throw for 10,000 yards and rush for 4,000 more. First time ever. That's how good this guy was. And with those amazing stats, he was drafted by the Niners in the 2nd round by a favorite. It pains me to mention his name here today, but I'm gonna because I have a lot of respect for him. Jim Harbaugh. Come on, let's hear it, Michigan fans. Jim Harbaugh drafted Cap in the 2nd round, and in his 2nd year, he became the starting quarterback, like in college when the original starter went down, and he went on to dazzle everybody again, and he led his team in 2012 to the Super Bowl. They lost that game to the other Harbaugh brother, John Harbaugh, and the Baltimore Ravens, but the scene was set, and Colin Kaepernick was poised to go on to stardom. Nothing was going to stop him. Fast forward a couple of seasons that saw both highs and lows for Cap's playing career, as well as an injury that sidelined him for a bit, and we arrive at that fateful 2016 NFL season when all heck around him was about to break loose. And if you remember back, this was a particularly difficult time in our nation, especially when it came to the killing of black men and women at the hands of law enforcement, and in our politics as well, that was just seething with racism at the time, being stoked especially in the political arena. Now, things had been getting increasingly tense, very tense if you think back. In fact, as Cap was playing football, he saw the world exploding around him in violence against his black sisters and brothers. I want to recap just a bit. From 2014 to 2016, for example, Eric Garner, who said, "I can't breathe," was killed by police officers in New York. Michael Brown was shot to death in Ferguson, Missouri. Tamir Rice, 12 years old, was shot to death by police in Cleveland. Eric Harris was shot and killed by a police officer that meant to tase him but pulled the wrong weapon. Remember that one? She pulled her gun and she shot him in the back instead. Freddie Gray was arrested and later found unconscious in the police station with his spinal cord nearly severed. He died. 6 police officers were tried, but they were not convicted. Alton Sterling was shot and killed in Baton Rouge. No officers held accountable. And finally, just outside of my hometown, remember it well, Minneapolis, Philando Castile, who was reaching for his concealed carry permit. When he was pulled over during a traffic stop, he too was shot and killed by the responding officer. His shocked girlfriend and her 4-year-old daughter were right there in the car with him as he died. So there are many others we could go into, but I think you get the point. Things were not going so well, especially when it came to being a young black man or woman in our nation, in our communities in that time. The victims of the police violence, and this is well before, several years before George Floyd, they were all black. The officers were rarely charged, and yet the settlements to the families were huge. They were big. And you know what that means? They just wanted to sweep it under the rug. Pay the family out, go away. Don't ruffle any feathers because no one's going to get charged and no one's going to be held accountable. But it just kept happening again and again, and the racist policies, they went unchecked. And one man took particular notice, and he decided he had a platform. He had a platform, and he decided to make a stand by refusing to stand as a protest against it all. And so on August 16, 2016, during a preseason game for the Niners, Colin Kaepernick decided someone had to speak about what was happening. And he knew, again, he had a platform and it was going to be him. He couldn't take it anymore, seeing all this violence. So when the national anthem was played, and the fans, players, coaches, everybody, did what they do, they stood up. Cap sat on the bench. He decided just to keep sitting on the bench. It wasn't noticed by many people this first week, except for a few. And one reporter got to him afterwards, and Cap told him, "I'm not going to stand up to show pride of a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way," end quote. Now things were about to change. As week one rolled into week 2, and then into week 3, people began to take notice. One of those people was a former NFL player in Green Beret named Nate Boyer, who decided to write an open letter explaining his views on Cap sitting during the anthem and talk about how he felt as a veteran, how it made him feel. And he penned this letter, and he was pretty upset. He was upset. It's right on the screen up there, actually, on the lower right-hand side as I'm looking. And then shortly after his letter was published, he got a call. It was Colin Kaepernick, who wanted to meet and talk. So they met at a team hotel lobby, and they talked, and they listened honestly with one another, a rare commodity in these days, right? At some point during this conversation, as Boyer really listened to Kaepernick and heard how committed he was to his cause, how painful this was to him, how real this was to him, Boyer made a suggestion to Cap. He said, "Don't sit, why don't you kneel?" In an NPR interview 2 years later, Boyer said, "In my opinion and in my experience, kneeling has never been in our history really seen as a disrespectful act." He said, people kneel when they get knighted. Who hasn't done that? Come on. You kneel to propose to your wife. You take a kneel to pray. And soldiers often take a knee in front of a fallen brother's grave to pay respect. So I thought, if anything besides standing, that was the most respectful. He ended with, "But of course, that's just my opinion," end quote. So Cap apparently agreed, and the next weekend, he and 2 of his fellow teammates knelt on the field when it came time for the anthem. And Boyer, you see him right there, stood at his side. And what Kaepernick tried to make clear, and Boyer understood as well, was that Cap was not kneeling to disrespect veterans. He was not. He was not kneeling to disrespect the flag. It was not to disrespect the memories of fallen soldiers or to disrespect any form of patriotism. This was to protest a nation that was in a lot of trouble, a lot of hurt, and had fallen yet again, like it hadn't ended, into the vicious cycle of racism and violence that just wasn't being addressed. Someone had to do something. So this was to protest the ways of a nation that was not living up to its promise that all people were entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This was to say enough. And much like Rosa Parks taking a seat 60 years earlier, Cap had just had enough. And going back to the quote I opened the sermon with, there are 3 kinds of patriots, 2 bad, 1 good. The bad are the uncritical lovers and the loveless critics. Good patriots carry on a lover's quarrel with their country. Colin Kaepernick, in my humble opinion, is a good patriot. who, led by a profound faith in which God was always with him, as worded in Psalm 27 that he has tattooed on his body, one of the two scriptures he has tattooed on his body, because he was a man of very strong faith. He was and still is to this day. He's carrying on that lover's quarrel with this country, and he's guided by his faith in a God of the oppressed. He advocated and continues to advocate for those who often have no voice. He uses his platform, his voice, to speak for those who have none. And though the country is slow to get there, and we have a long way to go, I, for one, believe wholeheartedly that someday Colin Kaepernick will take his place on the mantle of the great advocates for human rights. And he will be seen as one of the great change makers in American and world history. In fact, I was thinking about it this week as I was writing this and working on this. He stands in line with the great prophets of old who leveled sharp critiques against their nation of Israel time and again for instances of injustice and oppression. The prophets Micah and Hosea and Amos and Jeremiah and Isaiah and Ezekiel, they all spoke harsh words to their nations in times of injustice. Yet we celebrate them today, right, as prophetic voices. I mean, what was it Amos said that God told him? He said, I hate, this is to the Israelites, I despise your feasts. I despise your feasts. I take no delight in your solemn assemblies. Even though you offer me your burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. Take away from me the noise of your songs, the melody of your harps. I will not listen. But let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. Whew, sharp critique, right? Or take the hero of American history, someone else that we should lift up this month, Frederick Douglass, who scathed America, saying, "But America is false to the past, false to the present, and solemnly binds herself to be false to the future. Go search where you will, roam through all the monarchies and despotisms of the old world, travel through South America, search out every abuse, and when you have found the last, lay your facts by the side of everyday practices of this nation. And you will say with me that the revolting barbarity and shameless hypocrisy, America reigns without rival." He said that because slavery was such an accepted institution. Douglass was taking America to account for slavery with harsh condemning rhetoric. And yet we hold him up as a hero today, and we should. I contend the same will happen with Cap. It's just a matter of time, for everything he has done has been guided, again, by that unwavering faith in the love and fairness of God and the right for all people to breathe free of oppression and violence and fear, especially from our law enforcement. He's trying to make America better. That's what he was trying to do, and in a more just place by raising awareness like those others of its sins. And he's not, as he was called, a son of a bitch. That's what he was called by a very prominent person. He's not a traitor, as others called him. He's not anti-American, far from it. He's a lover in the midst of a quarrel with the country he loves and that he respects and that he calls home. And he's a hero, and he's a pioneer and visionary, and the kind of that the world all too often loves to label as dangerous. All right, so I could speak on Colin Kaepernick all day long, I've realized. I had to cut this off. I haven't even gotten to the NFL's apology to him, the Nike campaign in 2018 that celebrated something, even if it means sacrificing everything, and all the amazing stuff he's doing today to elevate kids, to bring kids out of poverty, and to get them into college, and to make sure they have food and education and things, and to continue to raise awareness of oppression and racism. I haven't gotten to any of that. He's still at it to this day. He's not in the NFL, if you notice that, because he was booted out forever. So I was going to keep going, but then I realized that you're all going to be smelling pulled pork and jambalaya and beans and all the good stuff. So here's what I have decided to do. This is part one of this sermon. Next week, I've never got applause for a longer sermon before.
Preach
This is part one. Next week will be part two, but with a different emphasis, both revolving around kneeling in two very different ways of living out our faith. It dawned on me this week that we have right in front of us a living example of the differences, between two different ways of living the Christian life. Almost like we have Paul and James happening right in front of us. Paul, who advocated a very personal faith, by Tim Tebow, a good man. I'm not going to disparage Tim Tebow. He's a good man. He's done so much good. I love Tim Tebow. Don't be wrong, but I want to look at him for his personal faith. And then James, represented by Kaepernick. James was the brother of Jesus, who advocated for more of a justice-based approach, a works-based approach, if you will, to his faith. So I came across, and this isn't original to me, I came across this in a Washington Post article, and I couldn't get enough of it. It was just stuck with me all week long, so I want to go into that a little bit next week. And it's Tim Tebow and Colin Kaepernick, two stars kneeling, but very different responses, right? One was celebrated and lauded for his very personal faith on the field. The one, as we have seen, was driven right out of the league, never to play again. One was white, one was black. Might have noticed that too. But both representing different visions of what the call of the Christian life is. So given that next week is Lent, I thought this would be a fascinating way to look at the call of our faith in Lent. Is it inward looking and personal? Or is it outward looking and communal? Or is it both? We'll use these two to explore that on the first Sunday of Lent next week. I also next week want to do a sermon talk back. We obviously can't do it today because you're all going to be out there having fun. So I'm going to do a sermon talk back next week as well on this very topic, because I know this can be controversial. People have very strong feelings about this. I know that, and I want to hear them. I want to have you have an opportunity to talk about this as well. So we'll circle up next week after the service and do a talk back on these two sermons. So save your thoughts. I mean, you can share them with me afterwards. Happy to love hearing your thoughts. But save some comments and think about this all week and bring some stuff next week to talk about. How do you feel about this? How do you feel when he kneels during the anthem? How does that make you feel? Someone's calling me. God's calling me right now. Nat, I'll call you back. So hang on to all of this week, my friends, because it's challenging, and I want to talk about it with you because I'm curious to know what you think. But what a great American to lift up on Black History Month. But for now, let's continue our service with our amazing choir and then a time of prayer. And then let's go out, my friends. Let's go out and enjoy the beauty of this day with a shared feast together, because it is beautiful. And there's a lot of you here, and we need to have a great sense of community today. So let's build that today, have fun, and we'll come back and regroup next week for part 2 of this sermon. I wish you a continued blessed Black History Month to you all. Happy Mardi Gras and happy Super Bowl Sunday. Amen, amen, amen.
I've got a river of life flowing down on me, makes the lame to walk and the blind to see. Oh,
journey into a time of joys and concerns, I do want to lift up, we have a watch, a beautiful watch. If anyone has lost this, it was left in the gathering space, I think, 2 weeks ago. If this looks familiar, it's yours. You want to claim it? You like it, just want to take it home? No, I've enjoyed it. It might have meaning to someone. It's a beautiful watch. There's no inscription, but I'll put it right up here if you want to take a look. If you're like, yeah, I'm missing my watch. What the heck? It's one right there for you. So we'll see who can claim that. Some joys and concerns. Continue or hold Linda Bridge shared a concern with me yesterday. Her brother-in-law John is having surgery on his pancreas here this week. So hold Linda Bridge's brother-in-law John. Linda's up in New Jersey right now, I think. But hold John in heart and prayer this week. And hold Dolores Abad in your hearts and prayers. She's been having some medical issues, had a fall. They took her to the hospital. She's at Morton Plant. She sounded good last night, but there's some issues that they're trying to determine the cause of. So hold Dolores in your hearts and prayers in this time, and continue to hold Fran Mitchell's sister Sandy and Fran as she tries to just find support and balance in this whole thing. And we're thinking about you, Fran, and pass on our best to Sandy next time we talk to her. And we're thinking about her too. And I got a note. I just noticed it right before I came out here. Jan Spicer, longtime member of Jan, love Jan, and her husband John, and longtime members here. John passed away a couple years ago, but she told me that John's brother Jim Spicer died 2 nights, so I got it this morning, so it would have been Friday night. Jim Spicer, many of you know him here. He was a moderator here for many years and was very active at Faith and had moved away, later on. And I think he was a UCC pastor as well, Jim was, and just a real nice guy from what I've heard about Jim. And so hold Jan and their family in your hearts and prayers in this time. And Jan, if you're online with us, we're thinking about you, and I'll give you a buzz later and we'll chat and we'll hear a little bit more about Jim. So hold them in your hearts and prayers. Couple of joys to share. Next week, Marge Brown, her kids are going to be here with us. One coming from the Netherlands and one coming all the way. Where's Marge? Is she in here somewhere? Oh, there she is. And one coming from Baton Rouge. They're going to be here with us. What a delight to have her family up here with us to celebrate. And they're coming to church. Christopher is deaf. So Marge and I have been talking, and so we're going to have an interpreter here, sign language interpreter here, next Sunday. So Marge thought this was an opportunity. If you know of someone that maybe is deaf or struggles here and it reads sign language, this is an opportunity for someone to come out and enjoy a service with actual signing. We're probably going to have this person here. Wonderful, delightful person, it sounds like, going to be with us. So we're really excited, Marge, to celebrate with you. That's a real joy. We can't wait to meet your kids and family and celebrate with them next week. So it's too bad they couldn't get them here for Mardi Gras. We've got a feast for them, but 1 week too late. But we'll roll out the red carpet next week as well. Also, Jay and Marcia Roberts, is it 51, you guys? 51 years? 51 years yesterday, marriage anniversary. Happy anniversary to the Roberts. Delighted. That's an exciting one. And also, one final joy, you all donated to Dunning Cares 219 pounds of food last week. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How awesome is that? Keep those donations coming. I think they need mayonnaise and oil and hygiene products and toilet paper. I think those are some of the main things that they're really short of right now. But anything, and coffee. We're on a coffee crusade as well. Anything you can pick up to donate to our neighbors is much appreciated. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I know y'all want to get outside, but let's just have one more moment of silence and stillness and prayer. I want to join me in just kind of journeying just for a moment ever deeper into this mystery that we name God, that kindles like a gentle flame in the midst of every single one of us, our being, our breath, empowering us and filling us with courage, bringing comfort in the trying times. And we know a sacred name lifted in a sacred space has meaning and power. So I want to invite you now to lift up anyone that you're holding in your hearts. Just a name is all that we need to hold them in this sacred space. And feel free to name a place, a situation that's weighing on you, or a person. I invite you to lift them now.
Mike Brader.
Ukraine.
Gina and Armando.
Or go to the gym.
She knew and carried.
For all those that we hold in the silence of our hearts and all those that we've named aloud this day who are struggling in mind and body or spirit, we lift them to the great beyond, to the energy of God, and we hope for healing and comfort, and may we always be a presence in the midst of all who are hurting. And of course, we lift our world in our hearts and prayers, those places of war, and violence, Ukraine and Gaza, and Israel, hostages still being held, and parts of Africa with ethnic cleansing. Just hold our world, and immigrants trying to find new homes and safety and new lives, refugees and asylum seekers, for all that we hold who are struggling in the world, and those that we know in our lives, that we know and love. Let us lift them this day. I wonder if you'll join me in a beautiful interpretation of that ancient prayer that Jesus taught us and asked us to pray long ago. The words are on the screen. Source of all being, who dwells among us and within us, may the interconnectedness of all life be celebrated and revered. May the highest ideals of justice, compassion, and equality prevail. And may the unfolding of your divine purpose be realized on earth as it is in the cosmos. Grant us the sustenance we need for each day, and help us to share our abundance with others. Guide us in releasing resentments and embracing forgiveness as we strive to dismantle systems of oppression and promote healing and reconciliation. Lead us away from the temptation of selfishness and greed, and empower us to work for the liberation of all beings from suffering. Protect us from the forces of injustice, violence, and ignorance, and inspire us to create a world of peace, love, and harmony. For the universe is filled with your presence, power, and creativity, now and forever. Amen. Amen. Couple quick announcements before we head outside. If it's Mardi Gras today, that means it's Ash Wednesday. On Wednesday, we've gone back and forth, done a service, not done a service, did ashes in the back last year. I think this year I'm just going to hold a brief prayer service at 6:30. If this is something that's of interest to you, and I know it's not everybody, getting ashes on Valentine's Day is not your idea of a romantic day. But we'll be here 6:30, probably to 7, half an hour, maybe even less. Just a prayer service with ashes for those interested. I call it Stardust, not Ash Wednesday, but I call it Stardust Wednesday. And as part of the service, I'll play that beautiful clip by Neil deGrasse Tyson where he talks about how the dust in us came from those ancient stars and cosmos and galaxies so far, far away. So Stardust Wednesday, 6:30. Join us here, and let's enter into the season of Lent. I encourage you to read an article I wrote for the newsletter. I know at least 3 of you did. That's great because you mentioned it to me. Thank you. The rest of you. I put in a challenge to live the next 48 days with some purpose. So maybe find some changes you want to make, just some things you want to do, or maybe let go of. Just take this 48 days as a time to just kind of do some inner work or some outer work, as we'll talk about next week, and maybe just to make some change. So live it as a contemplative time, and come out on Easter as kind of a transformed person of new being. I think if we can embrace that, we can do that. So see that article. Talk to me if you have any questions about it. And let's just have a great Lenten season, okay? And Easter's so early this year, and then we have April and May just to have some fun. We're going to do some sermon themes. We're kicking around. Let's test this. Who wants to hear a Broadway musical month-long sermon theme? It's not sounding good. 4 Broadway musicals, the faith of Broadway, we're calling it. Who wants to hear this? Music, preaching, themes. All right, we'll work with that. That sounded exuberant. A second try. Who wants to hear that? Okay, cancel it. We're working with some fun themes. So we got 2 months after Easter, so we got some really good times coming up ahead of us. So Thank you for your giving. Oh my gosh, your giving is incredible. Thank you. I mentioned last week, if you still want to make a pledge, you can still do that. And 2 people made a pledge last week. How awesome was that? So I'll just keep saying it. You don't have to. It's like a New Year's resolution. You know, I blew mine the first week of January. You don't have to just pledge once a year. You can pledge anytime during the year. So you support the work that we do here together. So there are pledge cards on the back table. If you want to make a love offering today, you're visiting, plates are on the back table. And to our online folks, just go visit our website, and you can do the same. Woo! Let's rise up in body or spirit. Let's sing our way out of here, and then let's go have some fun. We're going to crank up some New Orleans-style jazz. We got pulled pork, Bloody Marys, all the goodies out there. And if you're visiting with us today, again, be our guest. And if you just haven't signed up and bought a ticket, you can still join us today. Don't leave until you eat. So we have plenty of food. Let's have a great time. Happy Mardi Gras, everybody. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with us. Amen.